Thanks for joining us. We are Deplorable Rhetoric on WSTBR. Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. You can also reach us on Facebook at Deplorable Rhetoric, on Instagram, Deplorable_Rhetoric, and on Twitter, we rant the number 2 rate.
Everybody, welcome to She's the Boss Radio Network, 24 hours, 7 days a week, focused on topics to build, strengthen, inspire, as well as motivate men, women, and youth from the home to the conference room and around our community. I'm Sigourney.
I'm Ron.
And we are Deplorable Rhetoric. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to be a part, you can call 443-272-5922. You can also join us on www.shesthebossradio.com or listen to us on tunein.com, Shoutcast, or tell Alexa or Siri to play She's the Boss Radio. You should also follow She's the Boss Radio on Facebook, She's the Boss Radio on Twitter, WSTBRN on IG, and WSTBR on Twitch and Tumblr. All right, so let's get going. This is from News Nation. So this article is about COVID particles in the air. So new test detects COVID-19 particles in the air. So a new test is detecting new particles in the air, and it can do so in just 5 minutes, making real-time surveillance of COVID a possibility. Researchers at Washington University in St. Louis developed the test, which detects SARS-CoV-2 particles in the air, something that has been impossible to do before now. The sampler pulls in high rates of air, trapping virus aerosols and using a sensitive biosensor to detect the distinctive spike protein of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. Saharan dust... Oh, is this... Okay, that link is oddly placed, so I thought it was part of the paragraph. Okay. Anyway, so while the WHO has declared the COVID-19 emergency officially over and the majority of people have stopped masking, COVID-19 is still actively circulating. The virus has been detected in wastewater around the country, and new variants are still emerging. Well, good. I mean, our water's already infected, so who cares? A way to test for virus particles in the air could allow buildings to manage airflow better, knowing when to increase circulation to reduce the chances of the virus spreading. Knowing if the virus is in the air could also help people make more informed decisions when it comes to wearing masks. My thing is about like airflow and stuff. Like, are buildings really going to do that? Are really going to change anything up so that the airflow is better? The research team tested the sampler in the bedrooms of COVID-19 patients. Virus particles were detected in those rooms, but not in the air taken from control rooms. The device is relatively inexpensive to produce, and the team hopes to commercialize it for use in public spaces like schools and hospitals. The team also hopes to broaden the number of viruses the sampler can detect, including other airborne viruses like the flu or RSV. Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. Hopefully it's as cheap as y'all making it seem.
Because if you got to do the whole country, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, it's up to each company. It's not like it's, federally, no. They're not doing shit.
Right.
So it's going to be up to each company.
That's why I'm saying, if it's you're waiting for the companies to do it, don't wait. It's a waste.
Yeah, I mean, some not going to be able to. It's going to be bigger companies anyway. I mean, they'll be able to afford it, so they'll do it if they want to. All right. So I found something else health-wise I thought was pretty interesting because I had issues with this when I was younger. But this is from AOL Core. So a startling number of young women and girls are deficient in iron. Experts say their symptoms are often brushed off, and here's why. So, iron deficiency and iron deficiency anemia are fairly common medical issues that can leave people feeling tired and even short of breath. But new research has found there's one group that may be at particular risk of developing iron deficiency: young women and girls on their periods. Oh, really? Losing so much damn blood. The study, which was published in the journal, the medical journal, JAMA. Analyzed data on iron blood levels from more than 3,400 women and girls between the ages of 12 and 21 who participated in the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. The researchers discovered that between 2003 and 2020, almost 40% of women and girls were deficient in iron, and 6% actually had iron deficiency anemia, a condition where the blood doesn't have enough healthy red blood cells which carry oxygen to the body's tissues. Having a period was a risk factor for both conditions, although more than 25% of those who hadn't yet gotten their period also had iron deficiency as a result. So even if you don't have it. As a result, the research has concluded that current screening guidance may miss many individuals with iron deficiency. I think for me, what happened? It only happened like 2 summers. I feel like in the beginning of 2 summers, like I wasn't feeling well, was throwing up. I think the second summer or whatever, we finally went to the doctor. They said my iron was low, but that was the last of it. I've
Yeah.
never had
When it
issues
comes to
since.
iron,
So
they're always like, well, you don't eat red meat? Okay, eat these vitamins, these iron pills.
I mean, iron. I mean, meat's not the only way to get iron, but yeah. I mean, since then I haven't had an issue. I don't know why, because I don't remember them doing anything when I had the problem. But I see a lot of iron deficiency and iron deficiency anemia in menstruating adults, but hypothesize that as a specialist, I was only seeing the tip of the iceberg and that this issue was incredibly prevalent in the general population. Lead study author Dr. Amanda Wayand, a pediatric hematologist at the University of Michigan Medical School, tells Yahoo Life, we know that menstruation, especially heavy menstrual bleeding, which is also quite prevalent in the general population, is a risk factor for iron deficiency. But menstruation is stigmatized within our society. So issues may not be raised by patients or may be dismissed by providers. I mean, and that's kind of true. Like people just don't want to talk about periods, but whatever.
It's normal.
If you're born with the uterus, you're probably gonna have a period. So deal with it. But why might having a period lead to iron deficiency, even anemia, and how concerning is this? Experts break it down. So it's easy to assume that the blood loss from menstruation will cause temporary iron deficiency during a woman's period, but experts say it doesn't work that way. Iron deficiency is not something that happens for a week or a month and then resolves. Deborah Cohen, associate professor in the Department of Clinical and Preventative Nutrition Science at Rutgers University, tells Yahoo Life. Wayne agrees. It's less likely that people are low for just a week or a month. Menstruation does lead to iron deficiency, but this is more of a chronic issue with longer term iron stores. So yeah, I mean the fact is that it seems like for whatever reason females have lower iron than men, and then on top of that we get periods which just make it worse. So that's what it sounds like to me. Being low in iron means that you probably don't have enough to meet your needs, including having enough to fill your iron storage proteins. Otherwise, you would be able to use iron stores when you needed them, like during your period. Sonia Angoloni, a registered dietitian and spokeswoman for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, tells Yahoo Life. The study didn't look at why this population may have low iron levels. It merely discovered that this is happening. However, there are some theories. One is that bleeding on a monthly basis can raise the risk of iron deficiency and even anemia. During menstruation, a woman loses iron in menstrual blood. That can deplete iron storage. Registered dietitian Jessica, they got a lot of people talking about this. Registered dietitian Jessica Cording, author of the Little Book of Game Changers, tells Yahoo Life, women and girls who have more heavy periods may be at greater risk of this, she says. So Wayan says she thinks iron deficiency may be secondary to menstruation and is an intergenerational issue. Iron deficiency has been normalized systemically by our reference ranges and dismissal of women's symptoms, she says. Menstruation is stigmatized, and we know that although heavy menstrual bleeding is prevalent, affecting anywhere from 1 in 4 to 1 in 2 over the lifetime, many women do not seek care for this issue and may not even recognize it as abnormal. People as a whole are also having less iron in their diet, which may factor in, Wayan said, although she says that this plays a lesser role. Which I kind of find odd to me if you're supposed to get iron in.
How do you?
I mean, you can. Again, it's not just meat. It's just that meat, I think, has more than most things. But if you're a vegetarian, just eat more of whatever has iron in it. Regardless of the reason behind it, the numbers are pretty startling. Women's health expert Dr. Jennifer Wider tells Yahoo Life it's an issue that doctors need to discuss with their patients and suggest ways to manage and prevent effectively. I mean, especially when it comes to like sleep. Like if women are sleeping well and stuff and it's due to iron, then yeah, have that checked out. So what's the danger? There is a range with iron deficiency, and with that, symptoms can vary. Some people don't feel their best when their iron is even on the low side. Angoloni says some people can end up feeling absolutely exhausted. Maybe that's why I've always felt exhausted. Maybe my shit is low. I don't know. But iron deficiency, Iron deficiency and iron deficiency anemia can also cause no symptoms or vague symptoms such as fatigue, headache, and trouble concentrating. That sounds like me. Except the headache, which may be commonly brushed off. Cohen says that can lead to people being undiagnosed. And I haven't been to the doctor in a few years, so it could be possible. But while iron deficiency can lead to uncomfortable symptoms such as headaches and fatigue, Cohen notes that most people who experience it have no signs at all. Harm from iron deficiency is not common and really depends on the cause of the iron deficiency. If left untreated over a long period of time, however, iron deficiency anemia may lead to heart problems such as a rapid or irregular heartbeat, low birth weight, babies during pregnancy, and growth problems in children and infants. Jeez, according to the Mayo Clinic. So how can you treat it?
No solution.
No, you mentioned one earlier. Just take pills. Weigh-in says women and girls who have their periods should be aware of how common iron deficiency is among them. Cording recommends that people be mindful of their iron intake, focusing on consuming iron-rich foods such as fortified breakfast cereals, white beans, lentils, spinach, and tofu. See, none of that was meat, so you can get around it. If you suspect that you or a loved one has, okay, I'm not going into all that, but yeah. So, ladies, just one more thing to add to our list of bullshit we got to deal with.
Yep.
So, yay for us. But it's so swell being a lady. But in all seriousness, though, it is something that needs to be looked into. Especially if you are feeling a little fatigued or things feel off, you just never know what it is. And I'm not even talking just about iron. It could honestly be any number of things because none of us are doctors.
There's underlying issues on top of underlying issues. They start digging.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
still want to go into this. I don't know if I feel like going into this highly sensitive person. Let's not do mental health right now.
No. Oh, wow.
But anyway. So yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and get into the shooting.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that.
So, as hopefully everybody has already heard that there was a shooting for the 4th of July holiday celebration during that
Well, it wasn't for the holiday. It happened.
It happened on a holiday. So, right. So recently, they came up with the dispatch, the audio recordings of the dispatch, and to get a better idea of what was going on at that time. So police continue to search, which as of right now, they have a 17-year-old who's a person of interest. WJZ obtained dispatch audio from the night of the mass shooting that shows how officers responded to the chaotic scene. Acting Police Commissioner...
This is another Uvalde situation.
Yeah, basically. Listen to it.
Wonderful.
Acting Police Commissioner Richard Worley said detectives are reviewing hours of surveillance videos and to get a clearer picture of the people who ruined the annual community event. Police said 18-year-old Aaliyah Gonzalez and 20-year-old Khalees Bagmi died in the shooting, while 28 others have been the ages of 13 to 32 were injured by gunfire. The audio was taken about 2 hours before the shooting started. In it, you can hear officers talking about how large the crowds were, and people are calling in concerns about the weapons. So 2 hours prior to that, people were calling. It's going to be hard because it looks like I have 800 to 900 people out here, dispatch said. Dispatch also revealed new details about the hours leading up to the shooting when many teenagers were wounded, including a 13-year-old kid. Police said they did not know about the block party already ahead of time because it was not permitted event. But didn't they just say it's an annual event?
I didn't hear that.
It's in this.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they know exactly when it is. It's probably not the same date every year. And they may not have known the time. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because people, Baltimore, people do stuff all the time without a permit.
Right.
Don't say nothing.
But according to the audio, police got calls that night about hundreds of people outside and that some of them were armed.
Yeah, those are the people who didn't go. Like, get these people out of here. I want to go to sleep.
That would be me. They didn't give description. They just said everybody has a gun or a knife, audio dispatch says. At one point,
All right.
a call came in alerting police to possible gunshots. I'm getting 1031 dispatching a firearm at 815 Herndon Court. According to audio dispatch, people shooting and fighting at this location. Later on, you also hear dispatch communicating with Baltimore City Police helicopters who said there was no danger at this time. We got a call for for discharging in the area.
I have to stop you
Break.
guys. We got to go to break.
We don't break the laws. We just make up our own. The internet's best choice for music. She's the boss. Radio Network.
Hey, I'm Jenny James for Neatly Done Carpet Cleaner. You've probably been home a lot more. Maybe you have kids like me who spill all the time, and you've noticed that your carpet's not looking so good. Why don't you call Neatly Done Carpet Cleaner? They use a dry extraction service, so you won't have wet carpet all day long, and you can get back to doing the things you love with your family immediately. And it's a way to make your room healthier while improving your indoor air quality. You can do tile, slate, granite, ceramic, area rugs, and yes, they're pet-friendly too. Why don't you get a free, no-obligation estimate today? NeatlyDoneSanAntonio.com.
Bored with the traditional wedding, birthday, or special occasion celebrations? Do you feel like you just don't want all of the pressure of coordinating your own event? Do your friends all seem to become professional event planners for your memorable moments? Are you thinking of getting engaged and want a romantic way of doing it? Let us design it for you. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Let our photographers help you to make a statement. Want to make an impression with a beautiful arrangement? Speak with our floral designers. Zeal Enterprises, an all-inclusive event management company that provides complete consulting and coordinating services for weddings, anniversaries, reunions, theme and birthday parties, festivals, conventions, and conferences. Our team of professionals are excited to work with you. Call today, 866-494-5945, or go online to www.zealbnr.com to begin designing your event. Remember, in everything you do, do it with zeal.
You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? She's the boss. Radio Network.
So, as of today, they do have more investigations going on because based on several articles that have been written, local articles, there were some discrepancies. You had some police officers that were walking through or patrolling that area and didn't see or hear anything until it was too late. And I know Baltimore is in dire straits and needing police officers, more police officers to monitor and patrol the neighborhoods of certain areas. But I don't know. But this negative war, it's never ending, and people don't seem to understand why it is. If you have a corrupt government running a city that's blighted with death and gun violence and drugs and everything like that, then what do you expect? If you want to do better, you got to actually do it and stop talking about it. And they did it in the right time, like fireworks. Fireworks are going off. Nobody could tell the difference between the fireworks and gunshots. And trained professionals in the air and in the streets, if they can't get it, how do you think civilians are going to get it?
I think you can definitely tell depending on the type of gun and stuff. I mean, if it's automatic, no fireworks sound like that.
Right.
So I'm sure they could tell the difference. I mean, people were running all over the place according to this one article, so they knew. But that kind of leads into another article I had found as far as like safety and trying to do something about Baltimore and the crime. So Fox 45 is reporting on how, I guess it was asked, it's just somebody, whoever, whether National Guard should come in and help out. Police experts are saying no, which is kind of funny to me only because they're so short-staffed. I guess for me, I'd want whatever help I could get. But at any rate, so of course, with everything that's happened, police staffing in the city has been called into question. As of June 29th, the Baltimore Police Department said they have 527 sworn vacancies. Baltimore's police union, Lodge Number 3 Fraternity Order of Police, said just 7 officers were patrolling the Southern District at the time of the mass shooting, an event police now say they didn't know about until a few hours prior. We cannot legislate or hire our way out of this gun problem in the city of Baltimore any more than we can around the nation, said Sergeant Betsy Smith, the spokeswoman for the National Police Association, after another mass shooting along York Road in Cold Spring last month. One community member called on help from the National Guard. Just a few years ago, during the Freddie Gray riots, you saw the Guard, and I remember hearing it said, "This is not martial law. We're not taking over. But we're a presence, and that's all you need," he said. He believes their presence alone could be a deterrent, even if they're unarmed on your streets, because on your streets right now are armed individuals. So why not have somebody who's armed and knows how to shoot? He said should have happened a long time ago. Last year, the Randallstown chapter of the NAACP urged Governor Larry Hogan to declare a public emergency and deploy the National Guard to Baltimore in an effort to quell rising gun violence in the city. The last time the National Guard had boots on the ground in Baltimore was 2015 during the riots. We asked Sergeant Smith if the Guard came to Baltimore to assist, could they be helpful in curbing crime? I think what we would end up doing if we brought the National Guard to Baltimore is we would be endangering those volunteer soldiers, she said. Former Baltimore Deputy Police Commissioner Jason Johnson agrees. I think that's bullshit. My thing is, like, and I'm not putting them or any other military personnel above cops, but I'm just saying I feel like their training is a little bit more intense, and not saying that they do any better when it comes to regulating the cities, but I don't know. I feel like for one, training's different. I don't feel like they'd be so quick to want to like shoot up people like cops seem to, but I don't know. My thing is, at the end of the day, like, you guys are short staffed. Like, what is your plan? People are not coming to be like, I've seen the electronic sign on the side of the street where they're advertising jobs for police, and I think it's like a $10,000, $15,000 sign on bonus. It doesn't matter. People aren't flocking to y'all. So at some point, you have to get things under control. Now, it is only a temporary fix because, of course, once they leave, then what? But at the same time, something's got to be done.
But, I mean, weren't they here for Freddie Gray's?
Yeah, that's what I was just reading. That's what I'm saying.
So nothing changed then.
I mean, they were literally here just for the riots and left. I mean, what I feel like they're probably talking about is having more of a presence semi-permanently. To be here for a couple months versus whatever days they were here before. And yeah, I think it would help. But, you know, Baltimore seems to want to do things on their own, but they don't have enough resources. Or, I mean, they may have the money and the resources because Westmore is talking about a surplus. I know that's for the whole state and not just Baltimore City. But, you know, Baltimore City needs something done, and nobody's doing anything. And, yeah, I don't know what it's going to take because my thing is, at this point, you guys don't have anybody wanting to come in to be a cop. So, yeah, I'm sorry. You're going to have to bring in somebody. And I'm fine with the National Guard coming in. I am. So... because it's better than what we got now. And if that doesn't work, then find something else. I don't know what to tell you. And again, and then also, too, part of it is stopping what's causing people to do certain things. Like, you know, again, when we talked about these rec centers and these different programs for kids and even for adults, you know, we, our titles, our jobs are different, but within the mental health field, we work with people who, you know, have to find housing and employment and all these different things, or suffering from mental health issues and from drug issues or alcohol. And it's hard for everybody. And so you need certain types of programs temporarily, because no one needs to be in a program forever,
Right.
to help out. And it's just a shame that that's not exactly happening.
But my whole situation is this: the methadone clinics have been medicating these people for so long. Like, there's not been a time where one client came in and she said she's been on methadone for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's money, and she's not going to complain because
It's
it's like being high anyway. So.
No, but my thing is, federal money is funding this program to take care of the community as far as the drug issue is concerned. And you are charged with dispensing methadone. And there's one particular one which pissed me off, but they don't have a check and balance. There's no accountability. People come in, you have cups with the methadone in it. Nobody's watching you sign your name. You pick one out, you leave, and then a few hours later come back and get some more. It shouldn't work that way because they're going to sell it out there. So there's nobody. DEA, where are you?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the selling it because they're going to, well, I mean, I guess they could just use drugs because they're going to need something. They can't just like not take anything.
Yeah.
They'll just go through withdrawals and shit. But anyway, so former Baltimore Deputy Police Commissioner Jason Johnson agrees. This is a police problem, and not only the police, but it extends across the community and various city agencies. But primarily, we're talking about crime fighting, prevention, deterrence. He said it's really a police and criminal justice problem, and it has to be addressed by those agencies. Smith suggests calling for federal help instead. So you guys don't want the National Guard to come in, but you guys want you want the DOJ to deploy people to the city. Okay.
That's the stupidest
I
thing.
would employ the mayor to go to the federal government and ask for assistance. We have a large number of federal agencies in this country, and it would be great to see the DOJ deploy them to cities like Baltimore, but they've got to come with prosecutors to quickly and swiftly deal with the violent crimes roaming the streets. And they reached out to Brandon Scott, but no answer yet. So,
but like you said, why go to the federal government?
Yeah, I feel like National Guard is low key enough. You just bring them in, they kind of do their jobs. Like DOJ seems like that's too intense, I guess.
Yeah. How about DOJ turn around and start investigating you guys?
Yeah, Baltimore City Police Department. Yeah, exactly.
The mayor's office, all, not just Brandon, but let's just get.
Yeah, because things go back years. So
where's
it's not even
the
just
man?
about
Also,
Brandon.
the school. Come on, let's do a whole investigation. Find out where the money the federal government gives Baltimore, the state of Maryland, and the money that's allocated to Baltimore City. Where's that going? I don't see a change.
Well, this article here that I found kind of speaks to, I guess, Monty, the mayor's office of whatever the hell it's called, and the Safe Streets, and all this stuff that happened after the mass shooting. So this is from July 4th. Fox 45. In the wake of Baltimore's mass shooting over the weekend, several unanswered questions remain about coordination between some city agencies. The Brooklyn Day mass shooting left 2 people dead and 28 others injured. And of the 28 who were shot and survived, 15 of them are under the age of 18. During a Monday news conference, interim Monty Director Stephanie Mavronis said there were Safe Streets workers at the Brooklyn Day event earlier Saturday evening. She added that 3 to 4 mediations had been completed, but didn't explain why no one, either from Safe Streets or Monty, alerted the Baltimore Police Department to the large gathering that was taking place. I don't know that Safe Streets would relay that. I would say there is some level of communication about any incidents that is outside their purview. She said, again, the time at which Safe Streets was at the event, there was no indication that this is where the event was heading. That question became more pressing when BPD said it didn't know Brooklyn Day was happening. Acting BPD Commissioner Richard Worley said the department found out about the event hours before. Last year, we found out about it 3 days ahead of time and had time to put together an ops plan. This year, we did not find out about it until the day of. Yeah, I mean, and again, with being short-staffed, because if you had plenty of staff, you'd just be like, look, so-and-so, y'all just get down there. But when you only got 7 people in the whole damn department, it's, you got to spread them thin.
Yeah.
But so I mean, and that sucks because some plans do take time. It's a little hard to do certain things on the fly.
Within a few hours.
You're talking about hundreds of people you got to look out for. It's different when you're just trying to go into a building to grab a bunch of people who are doing something versus you got all these people. You don't know who has the gun, probably everybody, but you don't know who's planning to shoot it, why, all that stuff. So I do get that. So, I mean, and yeah, you can tell planning helps because last year they were able to, make sure nothing happened because they had that time, but not so much this time. And we saw what happened, when people don't report things. And again, I have no idea whose lap this falls in. It's probably a few different agencies, a few different people. But yeah, I mean, something has to be done. And for the mayor's office, the Safe Streets, and all these agencies or whatever, people working together, yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole mess. And there's communication issues, too.
So we got to go to break, but we'll be right back.
You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? She's the boss. Radio Network.
Beauty's in the eye. We complicate things when all along it's just perfect as it is. Beauty is from within. It's how you feel, not as how others see you. Skincare shouldn't be complicated. She's the Boss believes skincare should be nurturing, easy to use, smell delicious, feel refreshing, and look incredible. She's the Boss Cosmetics and Skincare brings you our botanical-based skincare line that's gentle, uncomplicated, and extremely effective for men, women, and youth. Feel confident and radiate a power glow that flows from the inside out. Exude an assurance that extends from the home into the conference room. Visit us at www.shes-the-boss.com or call us at 866-494-5945 to get yours today.
Bored with the traditional wedding, birthday, or special occasion celebrations? Do you feel like you just don't want all of the pressure of coordinating your own event? Do your friends all seem to become professional event planners for your memorable moments? Are you thinking of getting engaged and want a romantic way of doing it? Let us design it for you. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Let our photographers help you to make a statement. Want to make an impression with a beautiful arrangement? Speak with our floral designers. Zeal Enterprises, an all-inclusive event management company that provides complete consulting and coordinating services for weddings, anniversaries, reunions, theme and birthday parties, festivals, conventions, and conferences. Our team of professionals are excited to work with you. Call today, 866-494-5945, or go online to www.zealbnr.com to begin designing your event. Remember, in everything you do, do it with zeal.
You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? She's the boss. Radio Network.
Dave. All right, we're back. So let's keep talking about this damn mass shooting. So, where'd I leave off at? Last year, they found about 3 days ahead of time and blah, blah, blah. So Fox 45 News has been investigating Safe Streets for years. Safe Streets is Baltimore's flagship gun violence prevention program that operates with 10 locations dotted across the city with different catchment zones. The program was managed by a patchwork of nonprofits, but in the fall of 2022, Mayor Brandon Scott announced the management would be shifting to 2 nonprofits, Catholic Charities and LifeBridge Health. I didn't know LifeBridge Health was nonprofit. Questions remain about protocols for Safe Streets and how the program itself is run, especially when it comes to how mediations are defined. According to Monty, as of June 24th, there were 861 mediations done by Safe Street workers to date. However, it's unclear what constitutes a mediation in it, and if Safe Street tracks if a violent incident occurs after mediation has been completed. Now, we do already know that 2 people from Safe Streets in the last, maybe 3 or 4 years have been shot and killed. The first one, I don't remember his name, but it was someone that a lot of people, liked, and it seemed like he tried to do his job well. And, it's probably the reason why some stuff maybe happened. We don't know, allegedly. Councilman Mark Conway, chair of the Baltimore City County Public Safety and Government Operations Committee, announced the hearing will be held on July 13th at 5 p.m. So that's in 2 days to get a better understanding of the apparent breakdown in communication. I'd love to be in on that. Public safety, is it a public hearing? My colleagues and I have critical, unanswered questions about how such a large event seems to have escaped the notice of authorities and what agencies like the police department and housing authority knew before and during this party, Conway said. And that is another thing. Like whoever organized this, I guess maybe unless it was new people, but whoever organized this, if it is something that's annual and it's always been happening, they probably would have done the necessary things like permits or whatever to make sure that, they had what they needed. Now that doesn't mean, that should mean that the police would be involved because you've got hundreds of people. So why would you not involve them just for safety reasons? But yeah, man, something broke down somewhere. I don't know, but we must learn from what went wrong here so that we can do everything in our power to ensure that a tragedy like this never happens again. Councilwoman Felicia Porter represents the area in which the shooting took place. She described the mass shooting as a wake-up call for all of us and said the community cannot be complacent to the issues impacting the community. Like Conway, Porter, too, called for answers about how certain city agencies didn't know Brooklyn Day was taking place. Okay, yeah. While the investigation is still ongoing, it is evident that there were multiple levels of system, or if they did get new management, they messed up and didn't do what they were supposed to and didn't tell them. Because again, just because you have one on like July 13th one year doesn't mean it won't be like July 27th the next year. It just depends on certain factors. There could already be something going on there, so you have to move the date. So yeah, everybody has to be, everybody has to know what's going on. So it is evident that there were multiple level of system failures for various agencies. She said this is a matter that must be thoroughly examined, and those responsible for the breakdown in our security and safety protocols must be held accountable for the lack of focus on sufficient precautionary measures. We cannot allow such a tragedy to go unresolved or forgotten. So, as the investigation unfolds, a $28,000 reward is being offered for anyone with information leads to an arrest and charges. But at this point, they do have someone. So, someone claimed that $28,000. Probably framed somebody. So stop. But yeah, it is a serious issue though. Nonetheless, 2 people ended up dead and multiple people got shot. Yeah, the article said, I forget the numbers, but there was a large number of people out of the 30 who got shot. I think it said 15 were under the age of 18. Mm-hmm. For one, wasn't it like 2-something in the morning? So for me, that's already a concern because why is the hell your teenager out at that time? Now, I understand if it's literally right outside the door, that might be one thing, but still, you're talking like 2:30 in the morning. Like, you should be in bed. But we already know how Baltimore rolls. And so, again, for me, fixing this type of problem is going to involve everybody. And I don't mean everybody being in everybody's business, but parents, do your part. Make sure your kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Make sure they're in the house when they're supposed to be in the house, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff parents are supposed to do. Cops, do your part. I don't know who the blame falls on this at this point, but everybody had a role to play here. And, yeah, communication broke down somewhere.
People were calling.
Yeah.
I don't care who the person was that was calling, but if it was calling and saying, listen, and you guys didn't know that there were supposed to be 800 to 900 people in this area, I would go and investigate, find out what's going on. Because if they were in Federal Hill, you guys would have been there in droves.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. All those people, yeah, you would wonder, what is happening? And it is a shame that they only found out hours before. But my thing is, I'm sure in those hours, you could probably get one person down there, but they got 7, and that's probably the best that they can do. And again, that's why I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with the National Guard. I'm not talking about them coming in here with guns and just, pointing them at people on the street and terrorizing people.
True.
No, they just need to be posted up somewhere so that if something does happen, they're there, and that's
the visual deterrent kind of thing.
Yeah, the article said, I don't know how true it is, but the article said in 2015 they were a deterrent. I guess things kind of calmed down. If that's the case, then fine.
We got distracted. That's what...
yeah, maybe, but I think they were a deterrent because a lot of kids were out there, and certain kids are only going to do some things in front of cops or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy and it's sad and not only that, just around the same time, I know there's one in Pennsylvania, I believe, and I forget the other state, and they're just happening all the time. And I think I want to say I just heard about one the other day. Like that, I mean, it's getting to that point where you can't even keep it straight because
Yeah, man.
there's always something.
I know we live in Baltimore, so we definitely will speak about Baltimore, but there are so many other cities that is just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Gun laws.
Apparently Atlanta's off the hook.
Yeah, gun laws need to change. They have to be some kind of.
Yes. And you know what? Let's just skip to that. I was going to talk about these BPD boundaries, but I don't want to anymore. So let's just talk about, since you brought that up, what Gavin Newsom is trying to do.
Yeah,
Where the hell is it? I lost it.
It's active. For me, it's active.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. I thought it was a picture. Nope. All right. So I found this on Twitter. Gavin Newsom, who is the governor of California, yes, he has been in the news for a number of things. Apparently, sleeping with people's wives or something. I don't know. Watching Hassan and that Hassan and that popped up. But so Gavin Newsom tweeted the other day, 2 days ago actually, new semicolon. I'm proposing an amendment to the U.S. Constitution to help our nation's gun violence crisis. The 28th Amendment will enshrine 4 widely supported gun safety freedoms while leaving the Second Amendment intact. And let me look up something really quick. Okay. So just because I want to, I'm going to read what this Second Amendment exactly is for people who don't know. So it says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, just like Bible verses, people take that, they misconstrue it to their own fantasies or whatever. But basically, I mean, I take it as like, if something is happening, if you're, I was about to say under siege, but if you're being attacked or whatever, I guess you have the right to protect yourselves. Now, again, some people have taken this, some right-wingers like MAGA people have taken this to starting their own militia. And oh my God, I just remember the video where they were during their trainings where they're rolling around in grass fields trying to shoot at targets. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. You guys got to look that up. Like
if you're doing all that,
this is
go
from
in
like
the
2015
military.
or something. They wouldn't get picked. They probably wouldn't pass the physical, looking at some of them. They wouldn't pass the psychological. They're all simple as hell. So anyway, I mean, it is what it is. But, so, let's see.
They tell us we have to stand by and watch tragedy after
Let's start this
tragedy.
over.
Every time, it's the same. They tell us we can't
Oh,
stop these massacres. They tell us we have to stand by and watch tragedy after tragedy unfold in our communities. They say we can't stop domestic terrorism without violating the Second Amendment. The thoughts and prayers.
All these thoughts and prayers from tweets he pops up in his video from Republicans.
In this country, we do have the power to change things, to reclaim our freedom from fear. Our ability to make a more perfect union is literally written into the Constitution. So today, I'm proposing the 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution to do just that. The 28th Amendment permanently enshrines 4 additions to the laws of our land. It raises the minimum age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. Because if you can't buy a beer, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun. It mandates
But we still can't rent cars till 25. Yes, mandatory background checks.
Purchasing a gun that can be used in a crime.
Automatic rifle.
It institutes
What'd you say?
reasonable waiting periods for all
Yeah.
gun purchases. And it
Waiting
bans
period.
civilians from buying assault
I mean,
rifles.
Canada, it takes
Those
weeks,
weapons of
you
war
know?
Our founding fathers never foresaw. This will guarantee states as well the ability to enact common sense gun safety laws while leaving the Second Amendment intact and respecting America's gun-owning tradition. The 28th locks in the common sense constitutional protections that Democrats, Republicans, independents, and gun owners overwhelmingly support.
Background checks, raising minimum
It
wage.
ensures NRA-owned
What was ban assault rifles?
NRA-owned politicians can never strip those protections.
So when he was saying that, it was DeSantis and Abbott showing.
This fight won't be easy, and it certainly won't be fast. Convening a constitutional convention requires 2/3 of the states to call for this. California will be the first. But that's just the beginning. Join us by going to...
Yeah, campaignfordemocracy.com. I cut it off right before.
Yeah.
But yeah, first of all, I didn't even know there was 27 other amendments. But second of all, yeah, I think it's about time someone tried. I don't know if it'll pass, but I think sometimes you just got to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, you got to be the one to step out of line.
Yeah. And he's already done a number of things in California that some people are just like, you don't know whether it's good or bad, I guess, until some time down the road. I mean, he has a huge homelessness problem in California that he needs to fix. But besides that, I do like the idea of this. I mean, I hope it goes somewhere, or even if it doesn't pass, maybe it can be revised or something to make people happy. But I'm not really concerned about making Republicans happy.
Right, but my thing is, I've always said, I do not feel like people in country, citizens, should be carrying automatic weapons that military use.
Right.
Like, that makes it just drives me nuts when you see...
Okay, hold your thought, because we got to go to break. We'll be right back.
You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? She's the boss. Radio Network.
Yeah, that's the sound of today's business community. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and only the strong survive. The challenge is navigating the ever-changing business environment to put your business in the forefront. So how does your business keep up with the changes? That's where She's the Boss Network comes in. She's the Boss Network is an internet media network that's been helping businesses like yours get the exposure that you're looking for at reasonable cost by way of radio and video. They'll help you stay successful by navigating change and seeing the big picture. After She's the Boss Network analyzes your business and marketing strategies, you'll start to see a media presence like you've never seen in your business before. And She's the Boss Network doesn't stop there. They use their findings to create a practical plan of action, a plan that will get your business from where you are to where you need to be. There you go. Lock those dogs up for good by giving She's the Boss Network a call at 866-494-5945, extension 101, or by checking their website at she'sthebossradio.com. Again, that's 866-494-5945, extension 101, or she'sthebossradio.com.
We don't break the laws. We just make up our own. The internet's best choice for music. She's the boss. Radio Network.
As I was saying before, I just never understood the fact that people say, hey, I'm going to get my child an AR-15 or a semi-automatic, weapon for their birthday, graduation, whatever. And they actually have pictures. These are senators and congressmen that have pictures with their kids holding assault rifles. We've had too many children being killed. We've had too many people getting killed with automatic rifles. What is the purpose? Like, what's the point?
Someone says that we should just repeal the Second Amendment and start over. No one needs weapons of war or military hardware, period. Someone responded by putting this up by George Washington. The very atmosphere of firearms anywhere and everywhere restrains evil interference. They deserve a place of honor with all that's good. No, George Washington, no. But again, that's how it was. Yeah, that's how it was then. So whatever. But it doesn't need to be that now. People are insane. They don't need to be walking around with guns.
And they always bring up the past. Like, okay, George Washington said this. James Madison said this.
Why don't you go live out in the woods in a log cabin with no electricity and wooden teeth and shut the hell up?
Right. Dig a hole to take a poop.
Go eat your bland-ass potatoes and your dry-ass chicken and shut the hell up.
Boil your chicken. There's no season. Well,
right. They've had some salt back then.
Yeah.
But, where's the Cajun seasoning? Ain't no pepper. Ain't no...
Right.
But
so it's just stupid. still want to bring up that old mind state to now.
And people are so crazy. Someone's like, I leave that state. He still tries to take my gun. It's not going to happen. And then someone else said, donut operator said, keep that garbage in your own bullshit state and leave the rest of us out of it. I mean, my thing is like, what is he really asking for here? Like no assault. You're crying about no assault weapons. And then he even said just a longer waiting period.
Yeah.
And then raising the age. Like at what point is he actually taking, besides assault weapons, which you don't need, what is he really taking from anybody? Like you go out to some field, shoot your assault weapons at empty cans or whatever. That's really like, I mean, if that's fun for you, cool, whatever, but it's pointless. Like you don't need that assault weapon. And guess what? You'll get used to not having it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My thing is this.
Like, I don't care.
How is it that citizens, if you want to get these assault rifles, you want to get military fatigues on and stomping around with your big trucks or whatever it is, join the military. And then when they reject you, you'll know why.
So these people are such idiots. So someone put up a video, and it's like, looks like infrared. Like everything's red except the yellow people. Some of the cars are yellow. But it says private property, Eagle Pass, Texas. This was from November 17, 2022. So to me, I'm taking this as this is like a mass amount of people trying to come into the country. I think it's at the border. And so he has this video playing, and underneath it says, you need the Second Amendment now more than ever. And then this simple ass hoe says Paris is burning, and now the immigrants are headed to the countryside, #open borders. And you see like the big, tall trash can receptacles and people like pulling those. They're kind of like masked up, like Antifa style. And I guess this is France. This is France's small towns are reeling from the spread of rioting. And first of all, is it rioting or is it people trying to get out of the city because it was at one point burning or whatever? You know, again, depending on who's writing something, it can sound bad and it can be wrong and all this other stuff. And the dude responds with infuriating. And he's from Texas. It says TXINDEP, which I guess is independent, 1836. I don't know, whatever. I think he's all for Texas breaking off. And I wish that they would. I mean, a bunch of idiots. Oh, not sink. Just break off and you can go rule yourself somewhere else. And then there's a picture of two kids hiding under a desk with a mass murderer, or like what do they call them? Mass shooter in the background. It says, good thing Democrats disarmed all the law-abiding people, right? Again, that's not happening. People see something that's vaguely relevant and just throw some stupid-ass meme post on there. And it's like, yeah, this will fit. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Someone said none of these proposals will do a single thing about gun deaths. Everything that can be done is already being done. It has zero chance of passing. Why are Americans so stupid? What is actually being done? They're allowing you to have guns. They're not doing shit about mental health. They're not doing anything about these crazy ass racists who are talking about these writing in their manifestos and loving Trump. And have we forgotten all about that too? Just because Trump is like, oh yeah, a trans person can be in my pageants, we're all like, oh okay, he's cool, and we're forgetting about all the other crap that he's done. Sin is the problem, and only thing that will fix is the Lord coming back and ending time and eliminating sin forever. Someone said, yep, thoughts and prayers seem to be working. The person responded, only works for those that believe in Jesus, their Savior.
Siggy's face.
I can't deal with the level of stupidity. I just can't. But you know what? I hope the world does burn. F it. Like, you know what? I'm getting sick of people. This is stupid. This is really stupid. Like, common sense has really left humanity. And you know what? To be honest, I actually think we're getting closer and closer to more common sense, because if you look at how people were back then, but we're always going to be people. We're always going to be a product of our time. And so people back then had very little science, very little knowledge. So how could they be any smarter than they were? You know, there were the few that pushed things and actually, discovered whatever, like Newton and gravity. Wasn't it him with the apple? I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember much from school. I'm probably mixing everything up. That's fine. I'm not a historian. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. This is just, God. I'm over it too. And just in time, because
We're over.
5:54, it's time for us to go anyway. Well, you guys will be getting this around 10:54. We had to record this early. But anyway, yes, that does conclude our show for today. We will be back next Tuesday with more deplorable rhetoric. But thank you for tuning in to She's the Boss Radio, which is 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if for next time you want to, not tune in, but if you want to be part of it, there's a number that you can call. I don't need to give it now, but you can go to www.shesthebossradio.com to find out about Deplorable Rhetoric and all the other shows on the network. You can always listen in on tunein.com or Shoutcast. Tell Alexa or Siri to play She's the Boss Radio. And don't forget to follow She's the Boss Radio on Facebook, She's the Boss Radio on Twitter, WSTBRN on IG, and WSTBR on Twitch and Tumblr. And make sure to hit the notification button. You can also find Deplorable Rhetoric on Facebook, Deplorable_Rhetoric on Instagram, and We Rant to Rave, the number 2 on Twitter. All right, talk at y'all next Tuesday.
We don't break the laws. We just make up our own. The internet's best choice for music. She's the